Hello everyone, this is Dave from Dave vs. Games, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Factorio. Factorio is another early access game. I believe it's in development by Woob Studios or something along those lines, Woob Software. I may be pronouncing that completely wrong, but anyway, this is going to be something between a review and an impressions video. I've definitely played enough of this that it's not really just an impressions video. I put about 70 hours into it. But I don't think a traditional review is really going to be what this game... It's not going to really show what this game is. Really seeing gameplay on this is going to be how you're going to be able to tell if this is for you or not. So anyway, I may still give some positives and negatives, may even throw out a score at the end, but essentially I'm going to go through and just show you what the game plays like, and yeah, we'll just take a look at it. So obviously I'm on the main menu here. There's a map editor, there's a section for mods, so it does support both of those. I haven't really looked at those much, but they are there, and that definitely extends your gameplay. There is a campaign section here. This first steps thing I think is more of an introductory type thing. I may have done a couple of these. I really don't remember much about them. I want to say they're more like a challenge or complete a specific objective type situation, but I don't know. I don't think I've really spent much time on those. I think the real meat of the game is actually in just starting a new game. There's also some stuff to be said about multiplayer, but I'll get to that here in a few. So I'm going to start a new game. There are a ton of options, things you can change here. Probably that would make your life a whole lot easier or harder. I haven't really messed with these. I mean, there's definitely a lot of settings, but the game does a pretty good job of setting you up with a decent map, or at least usually it does. I'm going to hit generate here, and I'm going to be looking for something that's easy to show you guys, so if I don't get the correct map the first try, I may have to edit this down and wait until I get a map that is going to allow me to show the game properly. So hit generate. Alright, this is, see what kind of a map we got in a second, but this is the little introductory information. It's basically telling you what you are. You're an engineer that crash landed on an alien planet. Your goal is to survive and also build yourself a rocket or a rocket silo and get yourself off the planet. So anyway, that's your goal. Hit tab, see what the map looks like. Ew. Yeah, we're going to restart this. Alright, hit M there to bring up a map. This map is a little better. You can kind of look at the map and you can see the black is actually coal. I believe this gray, well, there's the silverish gray. I know that's iron. The orangish gold is copper. And then there's a little bit of gray here in the middle is kind of a gray-brown. I believe that's stone. The bright pink is oil, which will come in handy later on in the game. But yeah, this is at least a decent start. So I'm going to run over here a little bit. The stone. Yeah, there's some iron. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we've got 8 iron in our bag. We're actually going to create an iron axe. This is actually going to help us with mining as well as chopping down trees, things like that. So create one of those real quick. It puts it right down here in the bottom right. So you've got that equipped. So with that, I am going to, I think I'll start with some coal here. Alright, that's at least a start. I'm going to mine a little stone here, and I'll explain why in a second. I'll probably just go ahead and mine about 10. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and build. I'm really getting ahead of myself here. I'm going to try to set something up to mine iron. So you start with both a burner mining drill and also a stone furnace. Focus on the drill for a second. You can hit R to rotate. Set your drill down. I'm going to put a little bit of coal in it. So it's going to start pulling iron out, but it needs somewhere to put it. I'm going to go ahead and put the furnace right next to it. And what it's actually going to do is it's going to spit the iron out directly into the furnace. The furnace is going to make some iron plates, which I can then pick up. I'm going to do a similar type setup for coal here in a moment. Grabbing just a little more to keep those going. Alright, I'm going to pick up some more iron plates. And I'm going to make another furnace, because those are important. I'm going to make another drill, which the furnace is actually taking 5 stone, the whole bunch of stone I grabbed earlier. The mining drill requires a furnace and 3 iron plates and 3 iron gear wheels. You will notice I actually didn't make the gear wheels. This is actually kind of a nice feature. You don't actually have to create each individual component. You can actually, as long as you have the materials to make it, it'll actually, in the bottom left corner, you'll see it actually queue all of the stuff up you need for an item. You'd see the gear wheels actually show up, so it would make the gear wheels first that I needed for my drill. Then it would, if I didn't have the furnace built, it would make the furnace, and then it would put it all together at the end. So that actually helps out a lot. I mean, it sounds like it would make things easy, but the reality is it just basically it's not wasting your time, which I really appreciate out of a lot of games. A lot of games will take a whole lot of time and from you and have you spend all your time building pointless components when you could just be focusing on building what you want to build. Alright, so I'm just throwing a little bit of coal in this to get that started. So it's going to start producing coal. And it's going to start throwing it on the ground. Actually, I'd like to make a box, which requires wood, which, oddly enough, there are not trees nearby. I'll gather some wood real quick. Okay. So now I'm going to make a box. It's going to put the box down here on this bar. I'm going to put the box down there, so then my drill is going to keep going. So now it's using coal to mine coal. Very helpful. Okay, and it's ran out of coal. Alright. Let's see, what do we need to do next? I'm actually going to try to go ahead and set up, once this gets a little further, make sure it has enough to keep going for a bit. I'm going to try to make a few of these things a little more self-sufficient. So I'll grab out some iron plates. I'm going to go ahead and build another drill. Actually set it on the stone, which I'll actually need another box. And put the box right there. A little bit of coal in there, so it'll start mining some stone for me. I'll go pick up a little more coal. So a lot of back and forth early on. It gets a whole lot better. I mean, you still have a whole lot of back and forth, but it's different. You're not just running back and forth to grab coal. And you'll see why as soon as I get this far enough. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and build a furnace. Let's build one more drill. And probably one more box. I'm going to get a little more coal going. Alright. So that's going. Pick up some more iron. Alright, now we're going to try to start... We're going to try to get some electricity. And to do that, steam engine, which requires iron gear wheels, a pipe which is made from iron plates. So if I click on this, you're going to see all these things queue up, and yep, it's going to start making the gear wheels, then the pipes. Alright, now we have steam engine. I'm also going to need an offshore pump and a boiler, which, to be fair, I mean, you'd be discovering a lot of this on your own. Part of the fun is figuring it out, but of course I'm trying to show you this, so I'm just kind of going through it really quickly, trying to get to where I can kind of show you the main gameplay loop, the main draw of this game, what makes it so much fun, and what made it to where I installed this game the first time. And I installed this game at about 10:30 one night. I had purchased it on Steam, sitting in my Steam library, and started at about 10:30 and planned on playing a half hour, then going to bed. About 5 in the morning is actually when I went to bed. Woke up the next morning. Luckily it was a Saturday that I happened to have nothing going on, and I played another 5 or 6 hours that day. Very addictive game. You'll see, actually, if you look at a lot of the Steam reviews, things like that, you'll see a whole lot of people talking about how they no longer have a family. They have a factory now. That is what this game does to you. Okay. I know I'm going to need some copper. Let's see if I've got enough. I don't have the stone for this. Alright. Need to get some more stone. Make a furnace as I'm moving. Make a drill. Actually, make another furnace. Okay. I'll just set the other furnace up right in front of it so it goes straight in there. Yep, now I should be getting copper plates here shortly. That will help me with a few of the other things I have to do. Alright, pick up the rest of that stone. Go pick up more coal so nothing runs out of coal. And a lot of these things, I'm doing these with like shift clicks. You can also do, I think, shift right clicks to kind of split stacks. I believe control right click splits them differently. I don't remember exactly how, but all that stuff saves you a lot of time. Alright, run over here. Get some more coal in there. Pick up my iron. Should have some copper to work with now. Go pick some of that up. 15, that'll at least get me started. Alright, I need the offshore pump. And then I need a boiler. Alright, I'm just going to set this up right here. So, this is worth noting because this did take me a while to figure out. Offshore pump, boiler, steam engine. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of coal in. Actually, I'll just use some of the wood. Wood is a fuel source as well. I need to make some electric poles. queue up a few of those. Alright. You'll kind of see what I'm trying to do here in a second. So let's go this way with it. Alright. We're moving. And I'm putting the poles in the wrong spot. Now we're going to build some conveyor belts, transport belts. I'm going to actually remove the boxes of coal. I'm going to put a conveyor belt here. You can use R to rotate things. Critical to doing a lot of this stuff. Alright. Oops. So I'm going to have this... Understand in a minute why I'm having it take this weird path. Alright, so it's all going to go under there. I'll build some more conveyor in a second. Alright, now I'm going to build two inserters. Inserters are basically, well, they are what they sound like. They insert items into things like drills, or they can actually move items from one place to another. I'm going to build a couple of these. Now I'm going to face this that way. I'm going to face that one this way. So, now, if I take out the fuel, this inserter is actually going to fill this full of coal. Coal that it's actually producing. So, both of these are actually now fully self-sustaining. As long as they have electricity. Alright, so I'm going to build more conveyor to send this way, and now I'm going to run out of conveyor. I go back over here, grab some iron. Actually, I'm going to see if I have materials. Yeah, I'm actually going to build another drill and another furnace while I'm over here. I'm going to need them shortly, and I'll probably need them pretty soon because of the conveyor belt situation. I'm going to need lots of conveyor belts, which is lots of iron. Alright. You go see. Oh, yep. So you get sidetracked, and then you forget to put coal in your drills and stuff like that. That's why it is actually very important to get these self-sustaining as soon as you can. Alright, let's build some more conveyor belts. Actually, I didn't pick up that iron. Okay. That rock is inconveniently located. Alright. I'm going to move these two things real quick. Stupid rock. Okay, fine. I don't want to put anything there anyway. And there are more efficient ways to set this up. By the end of this, and actually if you start playing this game, you're going to see everything I did and go, why the hell did he do it that way? And honestly, it's totally fair. I'm kind of just trying to put this together real quick, but there are far more efficient ways to do this stuff. And later on down the road, as you get further and further, you're going to need to actually do a lot of those things in order to keep your processes in some kind of manageable setup. If you don't have them set up right, you're not going to be able to make sense of where things are. You're not going to remember where things are, and that alone will start to make things extremely confusing, and you'll find yourself redoing areas to make them more logical and to make sure you know what's where and to make things efficient. Alright, so I'm going to make more inserters so that I can have them put coal in here once I get electric for it. They're going to put coal in all of those. And then we'll call that good for now. Alright, so now there's a steady supply of coal for those. I could get some coal for the burner mining drill up here that's taking care of the stone. You don't really use that much stone. I've got enough right now that it'll probably last me a while. Like, you really just don't use that much. So, make sure I got enough fuel. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that and put a little bit of coal in there. I will say the different, I believe you can tell based on what it is. Yeah, the fuel value. You can see different fuel has different value and will last a different amount of time. So that's 8, I'm guessing. I don't remember my science class very well. Megajoules, millijoules, honestly, I don't know. And then that's 4. So, you know, I'm going to have to look this up afterwards because that's actually going to really bug me. Because I remember learning it, I don't remember what the term is. But anyway, that's the value of the fuel. Alright, so now that we've got that set up, let's look at what we're actually trying to do. So, if I hit T, which it's actually telling me to do up in the right-hand corner, T opens up a research menu. The research menu allows you to do, obviously, different research. It costs science packs. It's not a very good name, but it could be a placeholder name as well. But anyway, costs science packs, 10 of them in this case, to do the research for automation, which will then allow me to have an assembling machine and a long-handed inserter. I'm going to go ahead and select this research. It's not actually going to start yet because I need to do a couple more things, but I'm going to go ahead and hit research. So that's the research it's going to try to work on. In order to do research, I need a lab, which I actually have enough materials to build. So I'm going to build this lab. Actually, I'm going to go get some coal for that. So now that it's putting it on this conveyor belt, no. See, this is a downside. You put it on a conveyor belt, and then if there's not enough usage, it just backs up. So, and if you really don't want to know some of this stuff, if you consider some of these tricks a spoiler, stop listening for about 30 seconds. But one trick you can kind of use is build a box, put it at the end, or somewhere around the end. Build an inserter and have it just place extra in the box. I need to get that electric. So now he's going to just start putting coal in there. If you are backed up and you want to just pick it up, the F key, I believe it is. Yeah, F key. It's a little awkward to try to move and hit F at the same time, but F key, you can run over top of stuff and it'll pick up whatever's near you. Alright, so now I'm going to give this guy a little bit of coal. And I'm going to give this up here a bit. Okay, so I built my lab. Just a set my lab up right there for now. So now I need science packs, which require a copper plate and an iron gear wheel. So, yeah, the raw materials, which actually you can see at the bottom of that, 2 iron plates, 1 copper plate. I've got enough to make 12, so I'm just going to queue those up. Or at least 10 of them. Alright, so all that's running good. Pick up some iron. Actually, I should go pick up the copper that I had up here as well. Okay, well, that's finishing. Alright, planning ahead, planning ahead. Go ahead and build some more conveyors, which I can't do while I'm making science packs. I always forget about that. Science packs in there. I could have actually started this research when I had just 1. I could have thrown 1 in there and then put the other 10 in there afterwards, but I wasn't thinking about it, so we're on a little bit of a delay. Got 1 random iron ore in here. I'm going to throw in that furnace. Okay. So it's making science, or it's not making science packs. It's doing research. I'm going to go ahead and start setting up a set of conveyors that's actually going to take iron from down here in a moment and take it up here. And you'll understand why here shortly. Build more conveyors. I'll do the same thing with copper, although I could call this good. Start moving that way. And my research is getting close. And build some inserters. I don't know why I picked that up. And another electric pole. Oh, and research done. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and select the next one while I'm at it. I'm actually going to do this. Even though there's no science packs right now for it to do any of those. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to use what I just researched. So this assembling machine can do exactly what it sounds like. It will do some of the assembly that I've been doing myself for me. Biggest thing is it has to make the materials one at a time. So whereas like in my inventory, I can take and make something that requires iron gear wheels, and it'll turn the iron into a gear wheel and then do it all for me. It'll just queue it up. The assembling machines have to do it one at a time. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put this here, that way it's got power. I'm going to have it use an inserter. It's going to put iron into this. I'm going to have it actually make iron gear wheels because I need those for science packs. It's now putting one of those in. Alright, then I'm going to have it... Let's see, I need some more assembling machines. I'm missing iron for this, which there's now a whole row of down here. Pick up the excess. Oops, pick up the copper. Alright, I'll build 2 more assembling machines. I have an inserter here which is going to pull copper out as soon as I make some more electric poles. Okay, so it's going to put copper there. I need... This is going to be a little ugly looking, but whatever, I can make it work. Actually, you know what, there's no reason to have it this way. Alright, let's move this down here. Electricity here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to build a couple more inserters. And it's going to take materials and make science packs. Because I've got iron gear wheels being made here. I've got it pulling copper plates from there, throwing those all in, and it's going to start making science packs. And then I can pick up the science packs as they're ready and throw them in here, and my research will actually get done. Really should have gotten my research going a little bit sooner, but that is kind of... That's basically the gameplay loop. That's where you're going to go, hey, I need this, how can I make more of them faster? And then you're going to build a process. There's different tiers of assembling machines. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff you can unlock. I mean, this is a full page of stuff, and a lot of these have different tiers of, like, logistics, I know, has several levels, several different levels to unlock. I'm trying to see what else is here. Anyway, you've got a lot of stuff you can unlock. There's a lot of really neat things. So your goal is basically going to be look and see what you need. You're going to need science packs. So this is 20. But as you get to bigger stuff, you're going to need several different kinds of science packs, which require more. 200 of each one of those requires a whole lot more time. So you're going to have to make your processes really efficient in order to keep building and building and solving the little mini problems of, you know, how do you get this? How do you get enough of these? And it's going to be a whole lot of, I mean, you're going to build a whole bunch of things. You're going to probably tear down a whole bunch of things, trying to make it more efficient. But it's incredibly addictive and incredibly satisfying. Yeah, I'm struggling to think what else to say. Essentially, I can't really say enough good things about this game. I mean, I realized that looking at it, I mean, I tried to actually show this game to my wife. First time she looked at it, she kind of gave me a look like, are you really trying to get me to play this? An hour later, she was hooked. She played the whole rest of that day. It's a game that doesn't look like much, but it does what it does extremely. Alright, so while we're waiting on the research to get done, since that's all automated now, I'm going to try to show you combat. I'm going to save my game first, just so that if I get myself killed, I at least can come back to it. But I'm going to try to show you combat. I'm going to try not to get too close, because if I get too close, this is going to be an issue. But you will be attacked randomly now and then. Every so often you'll have like a wave of enemies, especially as you get bigger, as your pollution increases, I believe is kind of what it keys off of, from the coal and things like that. Enemies will start showing up to attack you, and you'll see the map, this whole map around here, will actually start to fill up with these red dots, which are aliens and stuff that will come and attack you and try to destroy your base. So I'm going to wander into this group a little bit, try to shoot a couple and survive, so you can just see how this works. There's a good chance they'll kill me if I get too close to the main group of them, especially since I only have a limited amount of ammunition right now. But you will unlock stuff to kill them better as you go on. Right now I've just got the starter pistol that it gives you. Let's Try not to get too close. Yeah, I'm probably dead. Yeah, I'm totally dead. And that's what it looks like when you die. Alright, so before I stop, before I call this, I want to talk real quick about multiplayer. It's actually the same as the single player. You start in a random map, except you're starting with other players that, you invite to a group. I believe right now it's LAN only, so local network. You're probably only going to be playing with somebody in your household, things like that, unless they have a... it's technically not LAN only, but it's IP address based, so if somebody has a static IP, then you could potentially connect to them, but most people don't have a static IP address, so because of that, you're going to be limited on what you can do. They are adding support, I believe, in the next update to allow online play for basically everybody. But as of right now, LAN only. However, I can tell you, in preparation for the update that's coming, and just if you do have a setup to where you can, play this game with somebody in your house, something like that, it is a lot of fun to play in multiplayer. There's a lot of fun to be had. Basically, two people kind of working on one base together, or two people building separate bases. You can do that as well. And then assisting the other person a little bit with resources, things like that. It's a whole lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to say about multiplayer. I believe you can attack other people and things like that. At least I believe. I could be wrong on that. I can tell you for sure you can run them over. My wife was not pleased. Anyway, so you can run people over in multiplayer. A lot of fun. But multiplayer is great. The game itself is really good. I have to say, I think I may have already said it, but maybe it's in my top 5 list for this year, probably in my top 10 list for the last 2 years. It was a shock. I really didn't expect to like this game much. I actually expected to play this game for a little bit and then give it up. But it's actually a whole lot of fun, very, very addicting. So I guess that's both a positive and probably my only real negative to it. It's very addicting. You can lose track of time. That's actually one of the reasons I stopped playing it, is because I could so easily sit down at 7 o'clock in an evening and then look at the clock and it was midnight, and I would wonder what happened to my night. I had other plans, I had things I needed to do, and I instead played Factorio for 7 hours. I don't remember what time I said I sat down. If it was 7, then it was 5 hours. Yeah, it might have been 5, in which case it was 7 hours. Anyway, math is hard. Factorio was great, and that's really all I've got. If I was actually rating this, I'd probably give it a 9, something like that. This isn't a typical review because I just didn't really believe that showing you clips and an overview was really going to tell you what the game was. I think you really needed to see the gameplay loop and see how it develops and see how you start with something where you have to do each individual process, and then you start to learn over time, okay, I can do this to create it, to make it different and to automate the process and to make it more efficient. And that's really where the fun comes in, where you can sit there and imagine something and go, well, what if I did it this way? Because what I showed you here, this is tip of the iceberg. There are many things that, even having completed the game once already, there are many things that I'm sure I didn't do. Things that I didn't imagine, things that I was still discovering later. There were things that my wife did when she started playing that I hadn't even seen, I hadn't thought to do. She started doing some reading on the internet and found some other stuff. And you can do a lot more reading. The game doesn't do a wonderful job. I guess that'd be another negative. Of describing everything. I do think it's a whole lot of fun to discover a lot of it yourself, but you can look at, I believe there's a couple bigger wiki pages and things like that actually give a whole lot of information about the game, and kind of explain the best way to use some of the stuff, but for the most part it's more fun to just discover it as you go. So, anyway, great game. I mean, really good game. Great early access game. Right now, it's $20 on Steam. This developer has actually said they're not planning on participating in Steam sales, so you probably won't get it any cheaper than $20. However, it is more than worth that $20. Honestly, out of every strategy type game that I've played in the last few years, I would choose this one, and some of the other ones were $60 titles, and I got way more enjoyment out of this. So, great game, well worth the money. I guess that's it. So, thanks for watching. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section below. If you liked the video, maybe give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down works. Again, still working to improve these videos, so feel free to let me know what works, what doesn't work, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Okay, I said I was ending the video, but I just want to add this real quick. This is what a much further along setup looks like. Just a quick overview. I'm not going to show you too much, spoil too much of what's going on, but this is a much larger version of... This is what you're going to see later on. So anyway, this is what you've got to look forward to. A whole lot more stuff to manage. Alright, now this is it. Thanks for watching.